Today, I'm here to answer a question that people have probably already made plenty of videos about and answered and whatnot, but I still hear the question in 2023, and I feel like I need to put in my 2 cents, give my answer. I've gotten comments asking about it enough. I've seen it. I watch Ki11er Six. Shout out to him. He's an awesome Twitch streamer / YouTuber. If you want to go check him out, I'll have both linked down below. And I watch him and I still hear the question occasionally in his Twitch chat. So I am over here now to answer the question, should you buy Wonderlands? Is it worth buying in 2023? To get to this answer, I feel like there are a few points that I need to go over and cover. First of all is explaining what Wonderlands is and how it differentiates from Borderlands, and what made this game have poor reception post-launch, which also means that we're going to be talking about some of the updates that Gearbox did to this game post-launch after hearing some of the feedback that was coming through loud and clear, what they also did in updates and DLC, or as they call it, quote, PLC, which I hate even mentioning because it's just, I'll get to it later in the video. I don't want to go too deep into it, but we'll get to it. For the first portion of this video, I'm going to be trying to stay away from my opinions, which is going to be incredibly difficult because I'm a very opinionative person, and also I just have a lot of opinions on this game. But once we get past that point, I will, after that, share my opinions and tell you what I think this game is worth, depending on whether you're on console or PC, and we'll get into why where you play matters at the end of this. Stick around. For now, what's going on, everybody? Your Statistics. I do all kinds of videos gaming, and I just want to get into this because I already know this is going to be a long video. So you can check out my links down below. I got Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, all that going on, and you can check it all out. Twitter, I generally try to repost any gaming news that is smaller and I won't cover on here. I'll generally just repost on my channel so that you guys can get a look at it. I also love having, conversations and discussions with everybody, so hit me up over there, and let's get right into this. Okay, so first of all, why is this a question? It's a question because the post-launch reception for this game was, I would say, between mixed and negative. If I'm going to go through like a Steam review kind of answer, it was a lot of like mixed feelings on this game, and I'll give you the reason why later on, or at least my opinion as to why later on, and what was a loud voice in the community as to what went wrong with this game. But for right now, let's discuss what the vanilla experience of Tiny Tina's Wonderlands was. So comparing this to Borderlands, assuming you've played Borderlands, what the difference is here is, first of all, the class system. You don't pick characters, you actually create your own character, and then you pick from a set of classes, and basically you pick one class, and say you played as like Moze in Borderlands 3, there's 3 skill branches, I'll call them. So if you pick one class, that's essentially like one skill branch of a character from a Borderlands. So one class is one branch, and then eventually when you get to a certain point in the campaign of Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, you get an additional class. So you get to combine 2 classes together, so you get 2 skill branches. So unlike having 3 in Borderlands, or if it's Borderlands 3 after that DLC, it's 4. So unlike getting 3 in Borderlands normally, you'd get only 2, but they're classes and they each have 2 action skills that you can use one of, and you have an option of 4 of them once you get 2 classes. Your maximum level is going to be 40 in this game, and playing through the game, I mean, it's playing through like you'd play through a Borderlands. It's the campaign, it's the side quests, everything's pretty samey while playing through the actual campaign and doing all the side quests and stuff, albeit with a Wonderlands Tiny Tina Imagination D&D twist, right? So that is the essence of what Wonderlands is while playing through it. Very similar to Borderlands, but with the difference of classes and stuff. But then when you get to endgame, here's where the difference makes its mark. The first difference is in the drop chances. So in Borderlands, when you play Borderlands 2 and 3, the way the games worked was there was named enemies. They had dedicated loot to their drop pool. So let's say you're farming Katagawa Jr. from Borderlands 3, and let's say, I mean, I actually think he does have 3 weapons in his loot pool, but the way it works is when they have a dedicated loot pool, say they have 3 items in their loot pool, if you kill him and he has a dedicated chance of 15% to drop one of his dedicated items, that's essentially a 5% chance for each item from him, instead of just worldly farming. Like, this world drops as well, and then only certain weapons can world drop, yada yada. But my point is, there's a dedicated person to go to, and you know they have it in their loot pool, and it's a higher chance of getting it than farming anywhere else in the game. That's how Borderlands works. That's how it's been for a while in Borderlands, since Borderlands 2. And now, with Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, the way it works is they introduced a mechanic called loot luck. The main way you get loot luck in Wonderlands, so that you can have a higher chance of having better items drop, or just items in general drop, so that you have a higher chance of better items dropping. The main way you raise this is by going through every zone in Wonderlands, and there will be dice hidden around each zone, and you basically collect these dice, and every time you do, it raises your loot luck for that zone. So the idea is to go around into every zone and get all the dice, because that way you have the highest chance of farming for items when you go to farm an enemy in that zone. Where the issue comes into play is when you get to the Chaos Chambers. Now, what the Chaos Chambers are is, if you remember OP levels from Borderlands 2 or Mayhem levels from Borderlands 3, this is what the Chaos Chamber is similar to. And it's in fact a lot more similar to the way the OP levels worked in Borderlands 2, where basically you have to run through this place, and in Wonderlands it's called the Chaos Chambers. You run through the Chaos Chambers, and every time you do one run, it levels up your chaos level by 1. And the max level when the game first came out was, I believe, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, because I am going purely based off of memory here, but I believe it was Chaos 20 when the game first came out, which then they upped, I'll get to in a minute, but they upped it all the way to 100. But basically that was how you got to max level. And when you completed the Chaos Chamber, right at the end of it was what were called loot bunnies, and they were basically these statues with little symbols over their head symbolizing whether they would drop SMGs, assault rifles, pistols, class mod, necklace, ring, melee weapon, shotgun, whatever. So as you ran through the Chaos Chambers, you got crystals, and then you'd put the crystals into the loot bunny, it would vomit out a bunch of loot, and basically that's one of the ways you could farm the game. Now, where issues came to play here, and this is where my opinion starts to intrude here, but where issues came to play was the loot luck made everything across the board feel samey in farming. So why go to a named enemy in a specific zone or whatever and go find them and then all that, when you could just run the Chaos Chambers and have just about equal chance to get the weapon you wanted? It just, there was a problem with the chance to get something from a named enemy versus just getting it from the loot bunnies and the Vanilla Wonderlands, and it made it feel very repetitive, because what came to be was first of all, people already felt like they needed content outside of the Chaos Chambers. A lot of the community, when the game came out, was saying this, and then they kept upping the levels of Chaos Chambers from 20 to 30 to 50 to 100. I don't know why that was a thing, but this is, again, where my opinion's coming in here. It's kind of leaking in, and I'm talking about a lot of the community saying this as well, and why Wonderlands today is kind of a dead game. So the biggest issue with Wonderlands was the fact that they kept adding things onto the Chaos Chambers when people were saying we need things outside of Chaos Chambers. And basically all they did was they added more levels to the Chaos Chambers, which when you were done leveling up your Chaos level by running the Chaos Chambers, what did you have to do afterward? The raid bosses that you could fight, which is awesome that they had raid bosses at launch, but the only way to even get to them is through Chaos Chambers. You have to go go into the chaos chambers, find these symbols and stuff, and there's like a whole mechanic to it, which is really cool, but you have to run the chaos chambers to get to the raid boss, which you already ran the chaos chambers, which is nowadays case 100 times. That's if you passed every run the first time. You might not even, because it does get tough. And so running it 100 times alone, almost nobody's done. And people that I've read online from that have done it, they're like, I'm never doing this again. Like, this is terrible. So you have the chaos chambers, which you have to run 100 times at least just to get to chaos level 100, which is max chaos level if you like endgame. Then on top of that, the raid bosses are in the chaos chambers. So you gotta go to the chaos chambers once you're done grinding it to get to max level, just to do the raid bosses and test your metal. And then to get the loot you want, it makes more sense to farm the chaos chambers and go to the loot bunnies at the end of every run than going out and adventuring all the awesome maps that Wonderlands has. And finally, even after the community was trying to let it be heard that they wanted something outside of chaos chambers, we start getting DLC, and these DLC are literally just more chaos chambers. There's no break from chaos chambers in endgame, at least Vanilla Wonderlands, and I'll get into that a little bit later. Stick around if you're on PC for that one. Stick around if you're on console to hear what your reasoning to buy Wonderlands would be today, at least in my opinion. In my opinion, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, the only reason why I would buy it on console is if you're not that into endgame for Borderlands games. If you're only into the playthroughs, this game is great. It has amazing maps. It has awesome characters. I think it's funny, which I know can be subjective, but still, if you enjoy doing the playthroughs in Borderlands and you just love creating new characters and running through the game again, on console, this game is worth for like $20, I would say. And I say that because when you buy, even if you're not into it, when you buy a game purely just to run the game over and over, I would say at most it's worth $30, depending on how you feel about it, and that's including all the DLC. And the reason why I say this is because $20 to $30, like, you pay $60 for a full Borderlands game that has good end game that you're going to enjoy, at least I would hope. If you're buying Borderlands, that's, you know, you're buying it for the enjoyment of it and stuff. And Wonderlands endgame is very lacking. It's there, but it's very lacking compared to Borderlands games. Like, there's not nearly as much content to do. They stopped updating it very quickly compared to Borderlands 3, especially compared to Borderlands 3. And so that's why, in my opinion, this game is worth at most half the price of a Borderlands game. I would say less than half. I would say this game, if you're purely buying it for playthroughs, is a $20 game. Now, where it differs for PC players is that there is a wonderful mod called Wonderlands Redux. If you don't know about it, I have a video talking about it. I have two videos talking about it. One talking about the initial playthrough experience of Wonderlands Redux and all the like just differences it does up front that you're going to notice and everything, and my opinions on it. And then there's another one for endgame. You can watch both of those. I'll have them linked down below. As well as at the end of this video, they'll both be on screen and you can click on it there. But if you're on PC, I would easily say this game is worth $30 to $40 if you intend to use the Redux mod. I'll have an installation guide down below, and what the Redux mod does is it does so much that's why I recommend you watch those other videos, but I'll give a little glimpse. It overhauls the gameplay, it overhauls the endgame completely to make it actually fun. You're not just stuck in the chaos chambers the entire time. It puts what are called, I believe, hunts, legacy hunts or something. I don't remember the name that they gave it, but they're like these big stones around, and you go to them and you can spawn in enemies that drop pearlescence. They added a new rarity, not just one, but multiple new rarities to the game. There is like this like pinkish colored one that's for quest items, so it's easy to spot them. They added pearlescence, which you can farm at chaos level 10, which they also overhauled the chaos levels. There is only up to chaos level 10 now, which is significantly better. And each run in the chaos chambers, while trying to get to the higher level chaos levels, as you go up each one, every run is going to feel different. It's going to throw a totally different kind of enemy and just throw throw them at you, man. And chaos chambers are loaded with enemies. It's like I compared it in my initial video to playing Call of Duty Zombies, and you're like training them when you run in circles and get the whole mob like circled up, and then you know, load into it and just kill everyone. That's kind of what it feels like. It's so fun. The Wonderlands Redux mod is so amazing. It's so worth it. It makes the game worth buying. They are still updating it to this day. It in fact just got an update for Bloody Harvest, which is the October event. There is some things like they made the explosive barrels all jack-o'-lanterns, and then they also did something where the health potions are pumpkins. And then those are like the LTM limited time things that for the Halloween event. But then they also did a permanent update with it where it added in a new rarity called Contraband, and then all sorts of stuff, man. It is so amazing. And if you want to see that update, I'll also have that link down below. I have a video on it that I just put out pretty recently talking about what that update did. It's absolutely amazing. So I'm sorry I went on a total ramble there just talking about what the mod does. But yeah, if you're on PC, this game is worth, I would say, at most $40. I mean, you could really push it and just buy the game at full price, but it goes on sale so much that that's why I say it's worth like $30-40. If you want to find it on sale, Steam, it goes on sale fairly often. You can try a website I use called Green Man Gaming. They're an official third-party site. They are really good. They actually give you discounts every time you buy something. If you buy X amount, you get like tiers of discounts and stuff. They're really awesome. I'll have them linked down below. It's going to be a lot of links down below. But that is my thoughts on Wonderlands / Wonderlands Redux, what it's worth in 2023, all the way, you know, into 2024, because we're almost there, right? But that's what I think Wonderlands is worth, why I would buy it, depending on which platform you're on. So that's gonna wrap it up for this one, guys. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Are you thinking about getting Wonderlands? I've heard so many people just kind of like murmurs and stuff and questioning, should I get this game? Is it worth it? Is it fun? Stuff like that. And I hope that this video answered some of your questions and helps you get a better idea of, you know, is this game worth it to you? These are my opinions, of course, so I encourage you to check out other people's videos and see what they say about the game. You know, this is purely based off of my own opinions and the general reception I heard about this game. And what I see and what I hear online might differ from what you see and hear. So look it up, you know, check out other people's reviews. I highly encourage that. And thank you all for listening and watching. I'll have my videos for the explanation of what Wonderlands Redux is and what endgame looks like in Wonderlands Redux at the end of this video. Make sure to click on one or two of those if you're interested. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Later.